What's up, guys? This is Fantasy LOM here, back doing another live mock draft with Underdog. We got the sixth pick here, sixth overall pick in a 12-person PPR league. Best ball. Sixth position, there's a couple good options you can go with. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, most likely Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler will all be taken. Perhaps even Tyreek Hill. Maybe Travis Kelce will slide up. We'll see. A lot of times in that 6-7 range, I'm hoping to see Travis Kelce fall down. Maybe slide to 6 or 7. Maybe an Austin Eckler. Kind of depends what these first couple teams end up deciding to do. All right, and the draft has begun. Wow. DAJ97 taking Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson. Interesting choice there. Can't really go wrong with either or. Both are going to be star players. I mean, the only thing is, Jamar Chase and the Cincinnati Bengals, they do have a strong wide receiver core. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, along with Jamar Chase, whereas the Minnesota Vikings really only have Justin Jefferson. They have the rookie they signed, and Jordan Addison coming from Pittsburgh. Wow, and another shocking pick. Tyreek Hill going number 3 overall. 3 wide receivers taken off the board back to back to back. And now we just saw our first running back taken by Team FPL, Christian McCaffrey, out of the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see how he does this year, coming off of a strong year he had last year after being traded midseason from Carolina to San Francisco. So we'll be up in one pick now. And we saw Stephon Diggs also go. All right, so this is a really, really interesting situation now here for us. So Austin Eckler's on the board. Travis Kelce's on the board. I'm really eyeing one or the other. Both are great. In this situation, I personally would want to lean towards Travis Kelce just because Kelce provides more value at the tight end position than Austin Eckler could provide at the running back position. Granted, it's close, very close, but I'm going to have to give the nod to Travis Kelce. Welcome to the team, Travis Kelce, with the first overall pick. Pick number 6. Glad to see it and love to see it. And we see right after Austin Eckler goes. So basically, if I had taken Eckler, most likely Team Benjamin would have taken Travis Kelce. It was a toss-up, like I had said. But glad to have taken Travis Kelce. I think there's also a pretty deep running back class this year compared to years past. I mean, just looking at the board right now, obviously some of these top players will be gone, but maybe sneaking back into the second round, you might have a Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, potentially a Ramondre Stevenson. So it's, there's still options out here for us. And obviously the wide receiver class is extremely, extremely heavy. But we'll be up in 8 picks. We saw 3 running backs just go, Eckler, Bijan, and Nick Chubb, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Little surprised to see St. Brown go before Garrett Wilson, before CeeDee Lamb, before Devontae Adams. Not sure what kind of year he's going to have with the Lions this year. And we see A.J. Brown just going wide receiver out of Philadelphia. Shout out my guy, A.J. Brown. We see Tony Pollard. All right, so we'll be up in 5 picks. And now a lot of these running backs are starting to go off the board as we see. I mean, Tony Pollard, Bijan, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler. CMC went a little bit before that as well. So let's kind of start queuing up some of these guys. I know we like Saquon, like Derrick Henry. We'll be up in 4 picks still. Got a little bit of time. And, of course, Saquon was taken, which is why it's always good to have a couple players always queued up. You never know when a team might snipe one of your players just when you think you're going to get them. And we see Devontae go. So there's a good chance Derrick Henry could fall to us. Team Moose already drafted a running back in the first round, Bijan Robinson. Team Benjamin already drafted a running back as well in the first round, Austin Eckler. So if I was them, I'd probably be looking to diversify my depth chart a little bit, maybe with a wide receiver at this point. Looks like Team Moose is really milking the clock down all the way. Let's see who he decides to go with. Wow, interesting choice, taking Cooper Kupp. Figured he would have to go with a wide receiver, but Still, once again, I don't know how I feel about Cooper Kupp coming off the ACL injury like he did. Wow, Team Benjamin really coming in there and sniping us. Did not think he would go with the running back, already considering he had taken Austin Eckler, but that's fine. I mean, we're looking for another running back or wide receiver now in this position. So it's really all about the highest value. I mean, there are great wide receivers on the board. However, there are going to be plenty of wide receivers still in the later rounds. However, running backs are going to be few and far in between. Um, so let's go ahead and snag our first running back while we still can get a good, solid running back one. And we're going to go ahead and take Josh Jacobs, who had a fantastic season last year. Held out for a little bit in the offseason, wasn't able to get the contract, long-term contract that he was hoping to get. Ended up signing the 1-year contract similar to the Saquon Barkley, around $10 million a year. We'll see how he performs this year, of course, in another big salary year for him. But I like Josh Jacobs a lot, and welcome to the team, Josh Jacobs. And we saw after Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, and the first quarterback also taken off the board, Patrick Mahomes. So a little wide receiver run here towards the bank. That's no problem. Plenty of great wide receivers still on the board. I'm eyeing Amari Cooper. I like Amari Cooper as a wide receiver one. And we'll be up in 3 picks. We saw Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, two more quarterbacks just taken off the board. Shout out my guy Jalen Hurts again. I think he's going to be the #1 quarterback this year. I mean, the strongest dual threat quarterback in the league, throwing the ball, running the ball, can do it all. Jahmyr Gibbs, T. Higgins. And we'll be up next. Let's see what Team Big NRS wants to go with. They've selected 2 wide receivers back-to-back so far in Stefon Diggs and Chris Olave. If I was them, I'd probably be eyeing a running back, maybe a Travis Etienne here. Wow. And Team Big NRS really surprising me, taking a 3rd wide receiver before even taking a running back. All right. So there's plenty of great wide receivers still on the board. DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Christian Watson. I'm going to go ahead and go with Mr. All Reliable for Justin Herbert and draft Keenan Allen when healthy. He's one of the premier wide receivers in the league, especially when it comes to PPR, the amount of receptions and targets that he gets. And on the Chargers depth chart, it goes Keenan Allen, then Mike Williams, and then there's a precipitous drop-off to the 3rd string wide receiver in Joshua Palmer. So expect Keenan Allen to get a massive target share, coupled by the fact that they've got a new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, this year coming from Dallas. I think he's going to bring a lot of that air raid attack that he had in Dallas with him over to Los Angeles. And I really like Keenan Allen and this Chargers passing attack to really get a significant share of targets, receptions, touchdowns. So keep an eye out for every Chargers wide receiver, whether it's Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, even someone like Joshua Palmer, like I mentioned, the 3rd string wide receiver. You can slide late into the draft around maybe pick round 8, round 9, maybe sometimes even round 10. Second tight end just taken off the board though, Mark Andrews. A good tight end. I know he's hurt right now. Questionable to potentially play game 1. We'll see what happens. A lot of tight ends actually are injured right now coming out of training camp. George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. A lot of the top tier tight ends, or they're coming off injury, like a Darren Waller. So keep an eye out for a lot of these backup tight ends, or even rookie tight ends. Someone like a Sam Laporta out of Detroit, who's going to be taking all of T.J. Hawkinson's target shares from last year. And so we're 5 picks away now. So we can start eyeing some players. I like Dameon Pierce a lot. I love Kenneth Walker a lot. I mean, dude had a monster year last year. I like James Conner. I think after James Conner, it really starts to drop off for some of these running back talents, especially in terms of like if you want an RB2 for your roster. So with my 4th round pick in 3 picks. I'm going to be eyeing one of these 3 guys. If I had a preference, I think I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. Um, Dameon Pierce had a good year, but new head coach and D'Amico Ryans, a rookie head coach, actually coming over as a defensive coordinator for San Francisco last year. Rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. A couple other new pieces with John Mechie coming off of his entire missed rookie year, battling leukemia. The departure of Brandon Cooks. So there's a lot of turmoil on that offensive side. Dameon Pierce will get a lot of touches, but granted, defenses are going to probably be loading up on the box. Not too worried about the air raid attack that the Houston Texans will be offering and presenting. So I think I'm leaning more towards Kenneth Walker right now, especially with the passing attack that Seattle has with their triple wide receiver threats and Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and the rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. So we're going to go ahead and draft Kenneth Walker here in the 4th round. Welcome to the team, Kenneth Walker, to round out a strong running back group right here, Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker. Now we can start eyeing some other wide receivers on the board. I love George Pickens, the wide receiver 1, with the departure of Chase Claypool in Pittsburgh. Massive fan of DeAndre Hopkins, the wide receiver 1 in Tennessee, and also a massive fan of Zay Flowers. All reports out of camp are indicating that he will be the wide receiver 1 for the Baltimore Ravens this year, not Odell Beckham Jr. So with that in mind, he's going to be getting a significant amount of target shares, coupled by the fact that they fired their previous offensive coordinator. They hired a new one. So, I mean, they're going to be running the ball less, passing the ball a lot more. Keep my eye out for a lot of these Baltimore weapons, especially. But we've got a couple options here. We're 6 picks away. There's still a pretty strong wide receiver group for the most part in these wide receiver 2s. But like I mentioned, a lot of these running backs still start to dip off in terms of talent. So we're 3 picks away right now. Running backs are still being taken. Aaron Jones was taken. Breece Hall was taken a couple picks prior to that. So let's go ahead and solidify our running back room. We're 1 pick away. If Team Big NRS doesn't snipe us again like they did earlier in taking Amari Cooper. Granted, though, Team Big NRS has no running backs. All right, and they took J.K. Dobbins. That's fantastic for us. Terrible pick for them, great pick for us. We're able to go ahead and take James Conner. I think he's going to be the bell cow back for Arizona, considering Kyler Murray is on the PUP list. Definitely out the first 4 weeks. First 4 weeks. Potentially could be out the whole season. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and see how things develop. But a couple of rival GMs are speculating that Arizona might want to tank this entire season, go ahead and be able to secure their number 1 draft pick and draft Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. We'll see what happens. But for the time being, James Conner is primed to be the bell cow back, in my opinion. And I think he's going to get just a ridiculous amount of touches. Granted, if he stays healthy, he's going to put up a lot of fantasy points. So really proud of the running back room we've created here. Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, all solid pieces. I mean, Josh Jacobs, leading running back last year. Kenneth Walker and James Conner, always in that top 10 range. And now we're 9 picks away. We saw another tight end go off the board, TJ Hawkinson. We saw also Christian Kirk and D-Hop taken. D-Hop was in our queued list. It's all right. We have a couple other wide receivers still queued up. George Pickens or Zay Flowers. But now as we're nearing the end of the 5th round, moving into the 6th round, let's see what these other teams decide to do. I would be leaning toward the quarterback if Trevor Lawrence was still able to fall to us. If not, then I might be waiting just because there is a drop-off from Trevor Lawrence to Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa, and Dak Prescott. In my opinion, those next 3 fall into that next tier of quarterbacks. But Trevor Lawrence is still a step above them, especially with the addition of Calvin Ridley into their offense this offseason. Um, that'll be a whole new weapon. And of course, AP brother went ahead and drafted Trevor Lawrence anyways, so we're not going to be worried too much about that now. So we can queue up Deshaun Watson, like I mentioned. I'm a fan of Deshaun Watson. I think first full season now under his belt. I think he's primed to have a solid year. Amari Cooper. They got obviously Nick Chubb. They have a couple other pieces. David Njoku. And I mean, last time Deshaun Watson had a full season, healthy full season, he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So let's see if he's able to revive some of that Deshaun magic that he once had. But like I mentioned, there is a precipitous drop-off, so I wouldn't be too worried about drafting Deshaun still in the 6th round. I mean, there's still plenty of other talent out there. We're 2 picks away right now. We see a couple other wide receivers taking Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin. I'm really eyeing George Pickens a lot. I think the wide receiver 1 for Pittsburgh. I mean, another whole year building chemistry with Kenny Pickett. Dude's an absolute beast. Let's see what Team Moose decides to do. And they went ahead and took George Pickens. All right. A lot of these guys that we want getting sniped today. It's just one of those days. It's all right, though. We still have a good queue. And perfect. So we're on the clock now, like I mentioned. I love Zay Flowers. He's been having a stupendous preseason and training camp. Primed to be the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. We're going to go ahead and add Zay Flowers. Welcome to the team, Zay Flowers. So now we're 10 picks away. We can kind of take a little bird's eye view of our team right now. Step back, and we got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner. Very proud of our running back room we have here. Josh Jacobs, one of the leading running backs in terms of yards last season. Kenneth Walker, a prime rookie who no one saw coming, but absolutely hit the ground running last year. And then James Conner, who has just consistently, even after he left Pittsburgh, been a top 10 running back in fantasy every single year as long as he stays healthy. So all 3 will be significant bell cow backs. None have any significant backups who are impeding on them for carries. So all 3 will be great there. Very proud of our wide receiver room as well. Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, the clear-cut wide receiver 1. All indications report coming out of training camp for Baltimore. And Keenan Allen, when healthy, is the clear-cut head and shoulders wide receiver 1 for the LA Chargers and has that massive rapport with quarterback Justin Herbert. And then finally, the massive pick that I am the most proud of is my guy, Travis Kelce, the brother from another mother himself. As long as Travis stays healthy, which he almost always does, he's going to have another stupendous year. And now, as we're in the 7th round, there's a couple options. I like Brandon Cooks. I like Deshaun. I think we're going to go ahead and take Deshaun before anyone else comes in and takes another quarterback, because, I mean, it's really just Deshaun and Tua left. Maybe Dak if you want to throw Dak in there, but he's also going to throw a lot of interceptions, right? So it's tough to gauge with Dak. And now we're 11 picks away. So we really filled out our entire roster here. We've got the quarterback, got the running backs, got the wide receivers, got the tight end that we needed. So now we can really start to go ahead and fill out the roster and complementary pieces, backup pieces. We don't really need to worry about a backup quarterback yet. In terms of backup tight ends, there's still a couple on the board. We'll see where Kyle Pitts falls. We can go ahead and queue him up still. A lot of good wide receivers on the board, too. I'm a massive fan of Brandon Cooks. Dude puts up yards wherever he goes. Man is always a straight baller. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm throwing him the ball, you're throwing him the ball. Dude is averaging 1,000 yards, no questions asked. So, considering he'll have a competent quarterback this year throwing him the ball for the most part in Dak Prescott, I'm predicting that Brandon Cooks is going to have another fantastic over 1,000 yard receiving year for sure. Let's go ahead and see if he's going to fall to us. We're still 8 picks away. He's got an average ADP of 84. By the time we get into our pick, we'll be into the 7th pick in the 8th round, so we'll be pick 91. 7 more picks than the average draft value of Brandon Cooks. Let's see how these other teams are faring, where they value Brandon Cooks. Khalil Herbert, DeAndre Swift, and Isaiah Pacheco, all running backs just taken right now, followed by Cortland Sutton. Wow, all right. Team Zigazao 21 taking a strong bet here on Kyle Pitts. I like that pick. I mean, getting a tight end like that in the 8th round, especially if he's going to be a backup, I mean, that creates immense value for you. For someone like Team Zigazao 21, I mean, playing Kyle Pitts as your starter is definitely a questionable move, especially in Arthur Smith's offense. They're a run-first offense we saw last year with last year's rookie Tyler Algier rushing for over 1,000 yards. This year, drafting Bijan Robinson as well in the first round in the top 12 picks. They have a lot of upside and a lot of expectations for that young man. So we'll see how they end up utilizing him. All right, and we see Anthony Richardson, and then Hollywood Brown followed up close. Wow, I'm really surprised Anthony Richardson drafted before Tua, before Dak Prescott, even before Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins. I mean, I know the dude's a athletic freak of nature, but there's still a lot left to be seen of how he's going to play, what kind of offensive scheme they're going to have. They've got a poor offensive line, questionable running game, and of course, Team Benjamin, of course, coming in here and sniping us again just as our pick is up. Totally fine. A couple other options still on the board. In terms of wide receivers, I like Sky Moore. I like Elijah Moore. Let's go ahead and take Elijah Moore. Oh, you know what? Perfect. Even better. We'll go ahead and take Sky Moore. He'll be the starting wide receiver 1 for Kansas City, along with Kadarius Toney, especially if Travis Kelce's out the first couple weeks. Keep in mind, Sky Moore will definitely be seeing a massive target share increase. So I keep my eye on him for sure. So now we're 8 picks away. We can go ahead and start eyeing some other players we like who are still on the board. I mean, Raheem Mostert, great RB1, especially with the injury of Jeff Wilson, will be out for the year. I like Nico Collins. Nico Collins will be the wide receiver 1 in Houston, especially with the departure of Brandon Cooks. And DJ Chark as well will be the wide receiver 1 in Carolina with the departure of DJ Moore. So now we're 1 pick away. A couple options we can go with. We have a very strong running back room. Do we want to get another running back right now? Maybe, maybe not. I think it might behoove us to actually pick up a solid backup quarterback while we still can. And that's totally fine as well. We're going to go ahead and take Raheem Mostert just to strengthen our running back room. Let's see what happens in 12 more picks. We can come back around, maybe snag Dak Prescott, maybe even snag a Nico Collins in here. Let's see what ends up happening. So a little recap, though, while we're waiting. We're 11 picks away. Let's go through Team FLM here. Quarterback, we got Deshaun Watson. Running back, we got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Raheem Mostert. Wide receiver, we got Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore. And then rounding out our tight end group, we got the man himself, Travis Kelce. Really strong, really diverse team right here. I think there's a lot of upside in terms of the tight end group, the running back group. Significant upside here in the wide receiver room with Zay Flowers and Sky Moore if they do end up producing like expectations are saying. And then also Deshaun Watson in our quarterback room. I mean, will he be the Deshaun Watson of 2019, 2020, or will he be the Deshaun Watson of last year? It's tough. I mean, so there's a massive, massive guess here, which is why in 8 picks away, if Dak Prescott is still on the board, we can go ahead and shore up our quarterback room and draft Dak Prescott just to give ourselves a little peace of mind and a little ease in knowing that our quarterback room will have strong presence at all times, whether it is Deshaun Watson or Dak Prescott. One of the two will always, it'll almost be guaranteed to have a good game that week. All right, so a little recap. We saw Daniel Jones go, Kadarius Toney, Marvin Mims, Romeo Doubs, Dalton Kincaid, the first-round tight end pick for Buffalo Bills. Really interesting draft choice, actually. Not exactly too sure why they would want to do that, considering they already had Dawson Knox. He's not really relatively young, especially not an old player by no standards. It's not like Josh Allen also utilizes his tight ends to the nth degree, but a little questionable choice there. And we see Team Amazion drafting Kirk Cousins. So like I mentioned, a lot of these quarterbacks really be taken off the board now. We're 2 picks away, Team Moose and then Team Benjamin. Team Moose doesn't have any quarterbacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they went ahead and maybe drafted Dak Prescott. Same with Team Benjamin. Team Benjamin has also sniped us in the past when they drafted Brandon Cooks when we wanted to. All right, so that's awesome. Team Moose goes ahead and takes Brian Robinson. So we're one pick out now. And let's see if Team Benjamin is going to snipe us 2 times over or just 1 time over. And of course, screw you, Team Benjamin. I hate that guy. Second time this guy has sniped us. Second time. All right, so yeah, I mean, after Dak Prescott, there is a significant drop off now. At this point, I wouldn't be worried about drafting a quarterback. I think we can wait a little bit to get the backup. People like Geno will still be on the board. So let's go ahead and solidify more of our wide receiver room right now. Let's take the wide receiver 1 out of the Houston Texans, Nico Collins. With the departure of Brandon Cooks. With the departure of Brandon Cooks, I think he's primed to have a breakout year. I mean, it's really just him and Dalton Schultz coming over from the Dallas Cowboys. They have the rookie John Mechie, the third on the outside. We'll see how he performs, but a lot to be desired and a lot to be questioned still. And of course, Geno Smith already just taken off the board, followed by Odell Beckham Jr. We're 6 picks away now, guys. I like Sam Laporta as a backup year 1, ready to go. I think he's going to get most, if not all, of those target shares that TJ Hawkinson was getting last year with the Lions prior to getting traded to Minnesota. He's a big target, big-bodied guy. Great reports coming out of camp this offseason. So let's see. I like Sam Laporta a lot. Also love DJ Chark as well, wide receiver 1. So now we're 1 pick away. So it might behoove us to go ahead and, depending on what Team Big NRS does here, might want to round out our tight end room and just give ourselves a little bit of an insurance policy on the off chance that Travis Kelce isn't able to go for the first couple weeks of the season. We should be up in about 6 more seconds. Let's see. All right, Team Big NRS taking quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to go ahead and draft rookie tight end Samuel Laporta out of Detroit. Welcome to the team, Laporta. This is really great stuff. So now we'll be up in 11 picks again. Really, really just rounding out our team here. At this stage in the game, I mean, this late in the draft, it's really all about high upside. Maybe backups who you want to solidify, especially in that running back room in case someone gets hurt. Um, but you're going to find very few in between starters still this late in the draft. So I'm keeping a large eye on DJ Chark. I think he's still someone who's primed to get a significant amount of target shares as long as he stays healthy. We're 10 picks away, so we still have a little bit of time, guys. We saw Van Jefferson go, followed by Juju Smith-Schuster, Allen Lazard. Not too sure how I feel about Juju. Reports coming out recently saying that his knee could explode at any time. So take that with what you will. Not too confident about his abilities this year. Allen Lazard coming over from Green Bay in this offseason with Aaron Rodgers should provide somewhat of a safety and comfort blanket for Aaron Rodgers. Granted, they also do have Garrett Wilson on the outside. They have Randall Cobb. They've got Tyler Conklin. But yeah, Allen Lazard's also someone with high upside this late in the draft who could potentially be a solid flex starter for you. And then we see Jared Goff going, and then Jamal Williams, the running back out of Detroit last season, who ended up signing this offseason with New Orleans and will be the starter at least for the first 3 games while Alvin Kamara is on the suspended list for domestic battery. Then we see Devon Achani, a rookie running back out of Miami. Now he is the second string running back behind our very own Raheem Mostert after the injury, season-ending injury to Jeff Wilson Jr. Then we saw Darnell Mooney, Jonathan Mingo, rookie wide receiver out of Carolina. We'll see how he performs. But still, I would still prefer DJ Chark over Jonathan Mingo. I know they also have Adam Thielen, but I mean the dude's almost nearing 40. Not really, but hypothetically, like he's a pretty old guy himself. I think DJ Chark is probably on the rise this year in terms of their overall wide receiver depth chart. Still remains to be seen, but we're 2 picks away. So I'm really liking DJ Chark. I also like Jameson Williams' upside if he can come back right and stay away from gambling. He's got so much talent, but he just can't stay on the field. So we're up in 2 picks. Team Moose is really, really milking the clock down out here. And now it's Team Benjamin. Let's see. Are they going to snipe us for a 3rd time? They do not. Thank God. Hated that guy. So let's go ahead and draft a high upside guy. We're not too worried about needing a starter right now, especially between Keenan Allen and Zay Flowers. So let's go ahead and draft Jameson Williams, 2nd-year wide receiver for Detroit. Coming off an injury last year and then facing the suspension for gambling like he did in the offseason. And now he's going to be suspended for the first 6 games, I believe. 4 or 6 games. We'll have to go back and check that. But someone with massive, massive upside, considering that the Lions only really have Amon-Ra St. Brown on the outside and the rookie tight end in Samuel Laporta, who we also did draft. So keep my eye out for someone like Jameson Williams to accrue a significant amount of target shares as the season progresses and he builds more chemistry with quarterback Jared Goff. And now we're 6 picks away. We saw Ezekiel Elliott go sign this offseason with New England. Backup running back to Ramondre Stevenson. Then Tyler Algier, 2nd-year running back for Atlanta, backup to Bijan. MVS, Russell Wilson, Broncos country, let's ride. Michael Gallup. And now we'll be on the board in 5 picks. So right now we're looking at DJ Chark. Really just want to get players who will kind of fill out and complement our roster at this point in the game. I like Hunter Renfrow especially. If he stays healthy, I mean, with the departure of Darren Waller, I think there's massive upside to Hunter Renfro's game. We'll see. What's remained to be seen though is how Jimmy G kind of meshes with their offense this year. First year under with the Las Vegas Raiders and Coach McDaniels. So now we'll be on the clock in one pick. I'm eyeing both DJ Chark and Hunter Renfrow. If I had to pick one, I like Hunter Renfrow a little more. I mean, he was hurt last year, but when healthy, his last full year, he had 128 targets. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's go ahead and take Hunter Renfrow, really just rounding out this strong wide receiver room that we just continue to build. Yeah, and I mean, now there's a couple other guys, DJ Chark. We can queue up some quarterbacks if we want, as a backup to Deshaun. So Brock Purdy, maybe even a Bryce Young. We'll keep our eye on Deion Jackson a lot as well, especially with the injury or not the injury, with Jonathan Taylor missing the first 4 games of the season due to his contract disputes, wanting to be traded, not wanting to be traded, and wanting a contract extension. So we'll see how all that plays out. But in the meantime, keep an eye on Deion Jackson to be the lead running back. Granted, they do have Zach Moss, and they will kind of do a running back by committee, but Zach Moss also has a broken hand for the first few weeks, so he'll be out. So Deion Jackson will be the primed running back 1 for the Indianapolis Colts. And what better for a rookie quarterback than a strong running game? So I'm eyeing Deion Jackson a lot right now. We're 8 picks away. We'll keep an eye on what these other teams want to do. We're we're 5 picks away now. We saw Jake Ferguson and Cole Kmet, 2 tight ends, go back to back. With the departure of Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson should definitely get a significant more target share this year in the Cowboys offense. Ah, man, AP brother sniping us a couple picks before we wanted to. Taking Deion Jackson, I like that pick a lot. That might have done it for the running back room for us. It's pretty slim pickings after that. So we're 2 picks away. Kendre Miller, rookie running back for New Orleans, was drafted after Deion Jackson, followed by Alec Pierce, wide receiver out of Indianapolis. Team Moose is on the board, followed by Team Benjamin, the guy, our mortal enemy, mortal rival. This dude has sniped us already twice, drafting Brandon Cooks and Dak Prescott. So let's see what he does this time around. Will he make it a hat trick? Wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and take the wide receiver 1 out of Carolina, DJ Chark. Welcome to the team, DJ. Really just formulating a strong depth in our wide receiver room. Nico Collins, Sky Moore, Jamison Williams, Hunter Renfrow, DJ Chark, even Zay Flowers. Ones who can really be interchanged in that flex spot besides Keenan Allen. Really giving us options here. And now 6 picks away. We can eye potential backup quarterback. Bryce Young is on the board. Ryan Tannehill is on the board. CJ Stroud. Mac Jones is on the board. How do we feel about Mac Jones this year, guys? Might have to do it. Got a couple Boston friends. Got a couple Patriots fans who are friends of mine. If they're watching, shout out to them. Might have to give him a shout out and draft Mac Jones here as our backup quarterback. Let's see. We're one pick away. We saw Rondale Moore taken. Team Big NRS is on the clock right now. All right, Curtis Samuel was just drafted, so now, like I was just mentioning, we can go ahead and draft a backup quarterback. It's round 15, so I'm really eyeing Bryce Young, Mac Jones. Let's give the benefit of the doubt to Mac Jones, new offensive coordinator this year. Let's see how he does. A lot of expectations for him. Got some good pieces. Welcome to the team, Mac. All right, so we can go ahead and unqueue Bryce Young. We don't need him anymore. So now we're 11 picks away. So let's just go ahead, decompress a little, take a look at our roster, who we ended up getting so far, 15 picks in. So we've got in our quarterback room, we've got Deshaun Watson and Mac Jones. Really strong 1-2 punch there. I mean, both have extreme experience. In Deshaun's case, he's a dual threat running back, one you love to see, especially in a PPR game, PPR league, especially in fantasy. Dual threat quarterback will always give you a sizable advantage. And especially just someone to the level and talent that Deshaun has, and the type of receivers and weapons that Deshaun also has. So a lot of upside there. And moving on to the running back room, we've got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, all running back ones in their respective teams. In the case of Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, and James Conner, all heavy bell cow backs for their respective teams as well. Raheem Mostert will also he's not as much of a bell cow back, but he does get a sizable chunk of receiving receptions out of the backfield, which is always a positive as well. So extremely strong running back room here. And moving down to our wide receiver room, got the man himself, Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore, Nico Collins, Jameson Williams, Hunter Renfrow, and DJ Chark. So a lot of depth here in our wide receiver room. We got the clear-cut number one man, Keenan Allen, and Zay Flowers. Like I've been saying all draft, all indications are pointing to Zay Flowers being the number one wide receiver, head and shoulders above OBJ for the Baltimore offense. And then just the likes of Sky Moore, Nico Collins, Hunter Renfrow, and DJ Chark, all interchangeable pieces, all great flex player pieces that you can mix and match with. And then finally, our tight end room, we got Travis Kelce and Sam Laporta. Travis Kelce, of course, no explanation needed. And then Sam Laporta, the rookie tight end for Detroit. Detroit had traded T.J. Hawkinson during midway through the year last year, who was having a great year with Jared Goff. So it remains to be seen what kind of target share Sam Laporta will have. But if all indications and all speculations are true, he should basically be overtaking most, or if not all, of T.J. Hawkinson's prior target shares with Jared Goff. So I'd keep my eye on Sam Laporta, especially, it may potentially as a starter, but especially as a backup tight end on your roster. And now we're 2 picks away, guys. So really at this point in the game, once again, just like I've been mentioning, really just rounding out your roster, rounding out your team. Looking for guys who, might bring high upside. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up John Mechie. He was a rookie last year, but he didn't play, unfortunately, having to deal with a bout of leukemia. He was out the entire season. So he'll be back this year, fully healthy, ready to roll. Significant talent, massive freak of nature as well. I mean, if he can stay healthy, and if him and CJ Stroud can build a connection, there's a lot of potential there to be built. So we'll keep our eye on that. But let's go ahead. We're on the clock right now, so let's go ahead and take John Mechie with our 16th round pick. Welcome to the team, John Mechie. So we just finished our 16th pick, so we have now 2 more picks left in the draft, round 17, rounds 18, coming to a close soon. And once again, at this point, like I've been mentioning, it's all just potential upside, potential talent. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and add another guy who could bring a lot of potential value, especially if there's some injuries above him on the depth chart, and that's Joshua Palmer right here, third string wide receiver for the LA Chargers. Um, I mean, knock on wood, because we also have Keenan Allen, so knock on wood that Keenan and those guys can stay healthy, but it's almost never a guarantee. And when that happens, Joshua Palmer has shown to be able to step in and be a reliable target and someone who Justin Herbert can trust going down the field, short game, mid game. He can kind of do it all. So we'll go ahead and add him to our queued list. Another guy I'm also looking at is Chase Claypool, a clear-cut wide receiver too for the Chicago Bears, especially with the addition of DJ Moore this offseason. But someone who can also add significant value to Justin Fields and just help him make it easier to throw the ball downfield. It's not like Chase Claypool is a game breaker, but someone who can add value, especially if something were to happen to DJ Moore, God forbid. Let's see what team Big NRS chooses to go with here. But all indications are pointing to us taking Chase Claypool. So welcome to the team, Chase Claypool. Glad to see you. Glad you're a part of the team. All right, so a couple more options here as we roll out of the 17th round into the 18th and final pick. We're 10 picks away. We've got Deshaun and Mack in our quarterback room. We've got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, and Raheem Mostert in our running back room. Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore, Nico Collins, Jameson Williams, Hunter Renfrow, DJ Chark, John Mechie III, and Chase Claypool, all in our wide receiver room. And then we have also got Travis Kelce and Sam Laporta in our tight end room. So, I mean, great depth in every room, massive upside in every room as well, star-studded talents in every room. I mean, not really much more that you can ask for from an overall roster. So as our last pick starts to creep up on us, 7 picks away, at this point, I'd either be eyeing maybe a third quarterback to add on to our depth chart, or a third tight end to add on to our depth chart, whichever seemed to have more talent in terms of availabilities on the market. So right now, looking at who's available, in terms of quarterbacks, there's Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield. And then it drops to backups: Sam Darnold, Aiden O'Connell, Joshua Dobbs, Trey Lance, Tom Brady. So not really much you can work off there with. In terms of tight ends, you still have Hayden Hurst, the starting tight end for Carolina. And we all know a rookie quarterback's best friend is always a tight end. You still even have guys like Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Noah Gray as the backup to Travis Kelce. But I think with our final pick, 2 picks away, we're leaning towards Hayden Hurst right now. He had a solid year last year. 70 targets, 54 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Nothing crazy. Nothing overwhelming or underwhelming. Just a solid tight end. And a little recap: we also saw quarterbacks Ryan Tannehill and Baker Mayfield both being taken. So we're 1 pick away with our final draft pick. Team Benjamin is on the board. This guy has sniped us already twice by taking Dak Prescott and Brandon Cooks. We're on the board now. Final pick of the draft. Let's go ahead and draft Hayden Hurst to round out our tight end room. So that's our last pick right there. Why don't we wait and see what who are the last few picks for these other managers. Team Big NRS is on the board right now. They're going to go with backup running back Devontae Foreman out of Chicago. Team FPL takes Paris Campbell. At Team Adventure takes T. Sherfield. Smitty42 took Kelly, the backup running back out of Los Angeles. And then who will be Mr. Irrelevant right here? The final pick of the draft, DAJ97. But in the meantime, while he's deciding his last pick, why don't we do a little run through of our final roster here? So a little breakdown. We were the 6th overall pick. We drafted 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 9 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. Great overall split, I would say, in terms of value to picks. Tight ends, running backs, extremely difficult to find, especially quarterbacks as well in terms of value. So wanted to make sure to get lower amounts but higher quality. With the wide receivers, there's few and far between, so it's all right to have a little lower quality but higher number of picks. Hopefully, more of them will end up hitting. So let's run through our team here. So quarterback room, we got Deshaun and Mac Jones. Running backs, we got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Raheem Mostert. Wide receiver room, we got Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore, Nico Collins, Jameson Williams, Hunter Renfrow, DJ Chark, John Mechie, and Chase Claypool. And finally, our tight end room, we got Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, and Hayden Hurst. So as you can see, strong star-studded talent here. You got Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce, potentially even Deshaun Watson. A lot of upside talent as well. You can throw Deshaun in there with upside. Raheem Mostert, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore, Jameson Williams, Nico Collins, Sam Laporta. So a lot of upside that we're relying on here, as well as some star talent. But love the way the draft went. I appreciate y'all for sticking around and watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.